Okay.
Yes.
What else could I do as I'm going through this transition?
So in the critical decade, please, 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 please use Pilates and yoga as
Hmm.
your movement icing,
Hmm.
but your meat and potatoes has to be building muscle mass
Yeah. Yeah.
while you still have your estrogen. I say do it while you have estrogen. Do it while you can do it later. You sure can. And I'm working my butt off to try, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
Your endogenous estrogen is easier to make muscle
Yeah.
with as a stimulus. So learn to lift. You don't have to lift heavy when you're 30. You should, it depends what you want. If we want to go into prescription of lifting, people criticize me a lot because I mostly talk about heavy lifting. I
Hmm.
don't care how you lift, but it depends why you're lifting. So
Hmm.
if you're younger and you want to build endurance, then lift for endurance. Do tons of reps with the lightest weight possible. Do
Hmm.
25 to failure. I would never do that. How boring is that? But anyway, that's a lot of joint motion. That's a lot of joint mass. If you want hypertrophy, which is what people in their 30s and or generally want, well, that's a mid-range rep
Hmm.
set.
Hmm.
But as a solidly postmenopausal woman like me, I am lifting for strength and power, which requires heavier lifts. So, in the younger years, which is what you've asked me about, let's build a foundation so our
Hmm.
body knows how to lift.
I
Let's
like
look
that.
for hypertrophy so you know the form, so
Yeah.
that as you progress and need that strategic stress of lifting heavier, you don't have to start at zero off the couch because that's a long way to
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Right? So
Yeah,
just
I would definitely say I fell in the camp in the 40s because I love to run. I fell into and I love yoga. So I fell in that camp.
yeah.
And when I went to go lift weights, when I lifted weights in my 20s in college, because we had to, it was like I could look at a barbell and poof, I got like muscle. Now I'm like 2 years ago, I'm 55. 2 years ago, I hired a trainer. I was like, I need to build muscle.
Mhm.
Oh my God, we were working so hard for so many months. And then I would look in the mirror and I'm like, it feels like I'm doing nothing.
Uh,
So, yeah. So I think you're really on to something. If you don't, you would say 40s, late 30s, like switch away from your cardio and really look at weightlifting. Is that what you're saying is like the critical time period?
I think cardio is important. They do two separate things, right? We want a strong cardiovascular engine. Listen,
Yeah.
heart disease is the number one killer of men and women. I'm
Yeah.
not saying abandon cardio. What I am saying though is it cannot be the only thing you do. I'll tell you from a
Right.
orthopedic doctor standpoint, and I'm sorry, runners, when I say this, and I was a runner. I've run multiple
Yep. Yep.
marathons. I get it. We get if I hear one more runner telling me they don't lift with their legs because they run,
Oh God.
that is
They
a
say,
surefire way to end up in my clinic with some kind
yeah.
of butt pain because your glutes don't fire or
Mm,
because you've got pelvic instability and instead of running in a straight line,
mm,
you're running like a weeble, right? Or you can't
mm.
running is a single leg sport. You have to be able to balance in a mini squat without falling over to run well. Otherwise,
Yep.
you're just adjusting all the time. So when I say cardio is important, but if we're looking at it from a health span and longevity, I want you to, this is just how I prescribe it. There's many ways to do it. Unless you're training for a big race, unless you're a training athlete again, running
Mhm.
another marathon, 80% of the time spend in base training. So we build mitochondrial flexibility. We're burning fat. We're at our lactate threshold. 20% of the time, and I'll tell you, this is not based on my research. It's based on, there's a researcher here in my building that trains Tour de France
Oh.
athletes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So 80% of the time base training, 20% of the time, we are gunning it as fast as it's safe for our
Mm,
heart
mm.
so that we give our bodies that positive stress working in that high zone to stimulate all the muscle protein synthesis and cardiac function.
Mhm.
But we don't do that all the time. And that's what I see. The
Mm.
injured people coming into my office spend a lot of time at the highest zones,
Yep. Yep.
and they're injured every 3 weeks, and then they have to recover, and then their brain's
Right.
angry, no dopamine. So I'm not saying cardiac's not important. It's not the only thing anymore.
But and what I hear you saying is, and if you're going to do it, do some sprints, get the max cardiovascular, and then get your butt to the gym and start
Lift,
lifting weights.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So with lifting weights, what are you a fan of, like max amount of weight for 8 reps, or is there like a formula you follow?
So when we're lifting for strength and power, the strength, and again, I'm framing what I'm saying because now
Oh,
I'm
you can say no. Let it go. Let it out. Let it out.
so
Don't.
aware of all the bros hopping out of the woodwork and telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
listen, I've been in the locker rooms of the best athletes, training with their trainers,
Yeah.
writing my own things, reading. I know what I'm talking. So
Yep.
I'm just responding in my own head. This internal
Of course, I love it. I'm watching what you're doing. I think
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
So listen, I prescribe powerlifting, upper body push, upper body pull, lower
Mm.
body push and pull. For the 4 power lifts, so bench press, some kind of pull, deadlift, and squat, those are the lifts that I want you to lift to failure, but to get
Mm.
to failure in a lift range of 3 to 6. Now,
Oh, nice.
I've been taking care of people so long that I know for sure they want a specific instruction. So I have chosen 4. It's what I do. It's what my strength and conditioning coach taught me to do. 4 reps to failure. So what does that
Okay.
mean? I can pound out 4 reps. I can, if I'm bench pressing, I can do 5 like this. But if I try 6, one arm's coming down and I'm dumping the
Mm.
weights off, right? 4 reps, 4 sets for each of the power lifts. Now, that's not the whole story, but power lifts are complex. They do multiple joints, they involve your core, everything, right?
Mm.
To support that lift, I then on bench day will do the supportive lifts, biceps, triceps, lats, delts,
Mm.
to
Mm.
8 to 10 reps. I'm not
Oh, I
trying
love that.
until yeah. So that is the framework
Okay.
that I use for midlife women, plus the core. So that basic
Mhm.
framework builds strength.
Okay.
When
How many days a week are we talking? Because you're
you
doing
know,
the main muscles.
minimum of 2.
Oh,
I'd love people to carve out 4 days, but
okay.
minimum of 2.
And what would it look like? 2 days of the power lifting and 2 days of the supportive lifting?
No, so it's 1 power lift a day. If you're doing 4 days
Oh,
a week, 1
oh,
power
you're. Oh,
lift a
got it.
day and the
Got it.
supportive lifts to go. And there's some overlap. For instance, on a deadlift supports might be some plyometrics, might be some
Mm.
step ups with a weight, might be
Yeah.
some goblet squats, might be some hamstrings. And
Okay.
our muscles love variety, so
Mhm.
it's usually not the same thing for 6 weeks or so, but it's so that's how I do strength. Now, that may take 6 months to build up through from
Mm.
nothing. It may take 9 months to get this form down. I expect nobody to go from couch to heavy lifting. It's a progression.
Mhm.
But once we're solid in that, once we've been doing it for a while, if we want power, which is strength over time, then we add in some tempo lifting, meaning I hate this when my strength guy makes me do it. 1, 2, 3 down, 3,
Oh, yeah, I hate
one
that.
explosion up. I'm like, this is torture. But that's going to get me off the floor when I'm on the floor. That
Mm.
power is going to keep me safe,
Mm. It's
right? Because
beautiful.
we lose our type 2 muscle fibers with age.
Mhm.
And so building power, the plyometric type things, that's what that's all for, not to torture us. Yeah.
So then you also bring up a really good point, and something that my athletic brain had to think about in my 40s is that the purpose of working out became very different. And right? Like you mentioned dopamine earlier, like the pushing myself out of breath gave me the dopamine high.
Yeah.
And I started not running as much because I kept getting injured. And so then all of a sudden I had to call it forward movement exercise because I thought if I called it walking, I was criticizing myself. I was like, are you seriously walking?
We're
And then
moving.
the other part of my brain was like, no, I'm moving forward. It's a forward movement exercise. But then I realized that right, left movement was really calming to the nervous system. So all of a sudden, forward movement became my Xanax. And so I really repatterned everything. But strength training, what's interesting about strength training for most, not maybe in your 40s, but if you're listening to this and you're in your 50s, you're 55, it's not like you're going to do all this heavy lifting and look in the mirror and have bulging muscles. You're going to have security as you continue. And maybe you will, but it does, for me, I've noticed it doesn't have the same visual effect. But where I notice it is when I'm standing in line and all of a sudden my posture feels better. Or you brought up the point, I reach down to pick something off the ground and I'm like, oh, wow, I can pop back up.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what we could expect if we follow a strength training protocol that might be as satisfying as looking in the mirror and seeing a muscle?
Well, so here's what happens. The only people who pop out muscles, like you're thinking, are, I mean, some people are genetically that way. You may work out forever, and it's just part of your cytoplasm. People with very low body fat,
right,
will expose their muscles, right? You may look at discus throwers or shot put throwers. Those are really muscular people, but they also have a lot of body fat. So you don't see the definition. But what you will feel if you're a midlife woman is your clothes will fit better. You will have a leaner profile because you'll burn some of the visceral fat. And I wrongly say, but just for ease, I say we're exchanging fat for muscle. But it makes us leaner. When we get on a body composition, we're leaner. Makes our clothes fit better because I say muscle is nature's Spanx.
That's beautiful.
It really goes away a little bit. And so those are still satisfying, right?
Yes, agreed.
If I want to be really cut and lean, that is hard bodybuilder work. You got to build by eating more calories to build the muscle. And then you don't look like you're lean at all. And then you got to suck all that off. And unless you're trying to do that, what's the goal? I always return to, what are we working for?
Right.
I am working for strength and power. Along the way, my clothes fit better. I'm leaner. I'm not quite as jiggly. I don't have to wear Spanx, right? So not that I don't like Sarah Blakely. I sure do. But
I was going to say, hopefully Sarah's not listening.
I'm a big fan of you, Sarah, but I'm just trying to build some muscle.
Yeah. So you bring up a really important point, because when I was in my 20s, I think most of us, when we were in our 20s and 30s, use cardio to get the same effect you're saying. Hey, when you go into menopause, use weightlifting to get the same effect you were trying to get in cardio in your 20s and 30s. Is that accurate?
And the fact of the matter is that you can have a big cardio engine and still not be strong in old age. Can't open the pickle jar.
Right.
Maybe a lifelong runner and still become frail because you can't get up out of a chair, because running doesn't build the same kind of muscle that lifting does in the lower body.